Hey traders, welcome back. Aspiring traders, this is Coach UV, and this is the Unique Trading Group, where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income. And I mean, really. Listen, I got an exciting session for you today, right? Very powerful session lined up for you tonight. Thanks for clicking, and in return, you're going to get some real actionable value, all right? OPEX Friday is right around the corner. CPI, PPR are behind us. The market has really shown some resilience, but it's selective. Some names are soft, some muted, but two names absolutely exploded today. Tesla and Opendoor. And even at the time of this recording, Adobe is shooting up at the market. They just had earnings, and we got a lot of market movements going on, okay? So tonight we're going to break down exactly what just happened, why it matters, and how to position for next week, because we're going to dive deep. You understand? Not just into the charts, but into the psychology and the energy that creates these moves. Because once you see it, you got to act on it, okay? Stick around, because this is one of those moments where knowledge truly turns into power, all right? So before we dive in, smash that like button, hit the subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next drop, okay? We're going to be right back after this break, and we're going to get into it. All right, so we are back. Here's a recap from last video that I dropped, all right? OCTO quick, and then we're going to get right into Tesla. Remember, Tesla and Opendoor are really phenomenal. So I'm going to show you this recap, understand the mind of where we are so you can know where we're going, all right? It's really important to understand that, and I like to do these receipts so you guys understand who you're dealing with and the accuracy of the Unique Trading Group, all right? Let's get into it. I'm going to revisit OCTO. Right now, I think that there's still some momentum left in this stock, but I would not suggest chasing. Okay, a lot of people made a lot of money, so it's going to be very volatile tomorrow. So you want to watch the levels of 41.90. All right, 41.90 and 33.19. 41.90 and 33.19. That 33 could be a place of bounce, right? But watch there, because if it's a weak hold or demand, we could flush back down to regular prices. Okay, remember this stock just came out. Now let's hop over to Tesla, and we're going to do Amazon to finish off the video. I thank you guys for staying with me this long. If you have, you must be finding some value. All right, Tesla. Now, as informed on a couple of videos before that, Tesla needed to get over 350. All right, in order to see some sort of continuation in that 360, 370 area. All right, we've already taken a dip back down. All right, and what we want to see is, we wanted to see Tesla stay over 340. Those first numbers we gave out weeks ago, if you guys are part of the Discord, then you already know those first ones we gave out, those numbers were 318. All right, it was 318 for Tesla, and we always pop back to 333 or 320, 325, 328. These same numbers tend to play out over and over, and so I wanted to go over Tesla. All right, shout out to a guy in the YouTube comments who watches religiously. I appreciate you watching. He said that he was bullish on Tesla and you wanted to check out Amazon, so here I am, sticking true to my word. Okay, so Tesla, okay, right in front of you. Okay, we're gonna go to the 4-hour. And remember, there was a 4-hour, 30-minute combo on that SPY trade that I gave away inside of the community and on my YouTube, and we played that same setup, and that's why we took those calls, and SPY is running right now towards the upside. Now, let's trade it with no fear. Now, as you can see, Tesla is right now inside of a bear move, inside of this range, okay, inside of this daily price movement range. Now, if you go to the daily, what you see is that Tesla is showing indecision. All right, we have some strength, but we need to break over these highs. All right, we have a technical bear trap. All right, if you know anything about my trading, then you understand race theory. That's right, race theory, RACE. All right, it stands for race. All right, it's an acronym that stands for range, auction control, and execution. All right, you can check out that video inside of my YouTube playlist. It's the race theory, and I actually did it on Tesla, where it's a road. Look in front of you. You see how you driving on the road, you have the lines on the outside, and the white in the middle and the yellow on the outside, all right? And you have your slow lane and your fast lane, right? And so if you're on the highway driving, all right now Tesla's in a slow lane trying to gain momentum. They're trying to get back on the highway, all right? But we have to get past these points. And in order for Tesla to do that, all right, you want to catch a pullback. If we're bullish on the higher time frame, All right, a little bit more than we have been. We are continue to see higher lows, but we haven't quite made higher highs just yet. All right, once we start staying price close above these highs, then that's what we can say we're bullish to retest and take out some of these previous highs here at around in the 380s, 350s, and 400. That's when we're able to do that. But for now, we must get past these levels here. And so if we're bullish on a high time frame consistently, then you want to try to find a pullback level and an entry on a smaller time frame, like a 15-minute, a 5, or maybe even a 30, because Tesla is volatile and you get those moves back to back. And so what do you have here? A technical W shape on a daily time frame. Okay, we got to get past 355.39, all right? 355.39 is the next target for Tesla. If we get a great pullback, all right, catch some bears at the bottom, this will be where it swings to retest 355, all right? We close at 346.40, all right? Now I'm going to stop that video right there, okay? As you can see, that was the little commentary on Tesla where I talked about the price movement that can actually get back to where we were before, all right? And what do we have in front of you, all right? Tesla's at 368. This video was made a couple of days ago, so we went to 355 and some, all right? So I just want you to see the accuracy, all right? Whenever we take these trades, we are holding. We're not day trading. They're trades turning swing trades, and right now that's what you have in front of you. Tesla absolutely exploded today, okay? Look at these price movements. Let's go to the intraday time frame so you guys can see it a little bit more clearer. This is a very exciting move today. I call this out in the Discord. We were prepared. All right. If you want to be a part of a group that's preparing you before these moves happen, teaching you how to get in, the reasons why. All right. Clearly, click that link below. All right. Check out the Discord, the Unique Trading Group, and join the others who have seen success. All right. So right here today, what we have on Tesla. Okay. We opened up higher than the previous close. You know the lingo. And all day long, we went up in a trend inside of a range. Okay. Just for these prices alone. From 359 all the way up here to 369, okay? A $10 move. So you could have 10 extra money today just by following the guidance and being in tune with the community, all right? So I want to switch over now. We're going to go inside of the Discord because I want you guys to see that, all right? There was a lot of action today, all right? A lot of action today. And right inside of the Discord, I posted this morning about Tesla. And I said that Tesla was the most shortest stock out of the Mag 7. All right, it was the most shortest stock out of the Mag 7, and I wanted that to be known because I knew that when the market opened up, that we would have some sort of volatility, and that's exactly what happened. And so this morning I came out. All right, I talked about CoreWeave, APLD, waiting for a pullback. All right, I like the setup on it. All right, those trades, these particular stocks went down. All right, for a discount. Okay. And then as I'm looking at the market, we have Miss Leslie here talking about Tesla, right? So Tesla pops up, all right? We were in Wolf. Wolf started to break out. We took profits on Wolf. Wolf is one of our previous swings, all right? And here we go. So Tesla 395 target over time. Now this is just me watching and commentating, and this is the stock talk version on my Discord. So we talk stocks, right? We have a great time, all right? And so I said, hey guys, listen, swing leaps on pullbacks. 355 has to hold as demand for the rest of the week. Now that was today. The video I just showed you was a couple of days ago. See, the numbers never change. They always play back, right? So Miss Joy said that she sold early on Wolf. That's all right, but she still made money. And I told her fear kept her from holding. But she made a really, really good bag on the UNH and open call out. So I'm proud of her for that. They actually posted some of these trades today. All right. Wolf, we got out of that trade. SPY hit some of the targets. We already recapped that. I warned you about CPI that I was bullish and that number would actually push us up. All right, all-time highs. Laugh out loud. But I predicted that yesterday doing a live. All right, now Tesla squeeze. They want 365, 364. I absolutely agree. We hit 368. All right, she made about $1,400 off of a UNH 13 contracts. Joy, shout out to you. All right, and this is me commentating with her, and I appreciate you guys watching so far. I think it's good for you to see inside of the Discord and the call outs and the money made and the engagement. All right, we would love to have you. All right, now listen, this particular trade on Tesla, the reason why I took it because it really looked good, and the setup was really good. All right, so there was a bull flag on Tesla. All right, and I said that it wanted 370. That was around 11:43 this morning. All right, and so let's go back to the chart, and then we're gonna hop over to open. And that was around 11 something this morning that we got that. All right, that text that I gave out, and we got into these trades, and we held, and we made some money. All right, and several accounts. All right, I also have a small account challenge that I did when I started with $150. Now that account is at $630. So I will be recapping and giving you guys an exclusive video on that, so you guys can also participate and see how to join and how to do these things in present time. All right, so let's check out Open, because we had some squeezes on Open and Tesla today, man. The market was rippy, right? This is a short squeeze if I didn't never see one in my life. All right, a very, very big short squeeze. So Opendoor was up 80% today, a whopping 80%. You never get that at a bank. Never. You never get these type of moves at a bank. It will never happen. In order for you to get these type of moves, you have to learn how to invest and learn about money, and teaching your kids and yourself about financial literacy. All right. So, you know what that means, right? It's time to move over. All right. Let's get over to SPY. All right. Now here is the SPY. Now, OPEX Friday is right around the corner, like we mentioned. All right, now we're going to take a quick look at this landscape on SPY, because we need to understand what's going on. All right, SPY took a breather today. I'm not surprised after that run we've had. That's classic pre-OPEX drift. All right, we had this move before OPEX Friday, which is tomorrow. Excuse me. So CPI and PPI are out of the way. The big headline risk is fading. So Amazon was down, Microsoft was muted, Meta sat under its 200-day all day. That's the market taking a pause, right? Letting some of the air out of the balloon. But in the middle of that, the names lit up the board. Tesla, Opendoor, right? These aren't random pops. These are energy events. Think of the market as an auction. Buyers and sellers are placing their bids, right? Placing their bids. And what do you get? Get these explosive moves. Now, when imbalance hits, price moves violently to find the next one. All right. When it wants to find the next group of participants, that's what you're seeing here. All right. That's what you're seeing here. All right. And so I want you to remember that this is a market where you're going to get these big movements. All right. Right when there's a lot of fear. All right. And I went to SPY to let you see, just for you to see how these moves happen. All right. We talked about this in our last video on how we wanted that higher low and for us to explode above. And we got that and some. These are the moves you want to take. That's not fear. That's money for us. Fear creates opportunity. All right. Fear creates opportunity. And sometimes money is transferred from the impatient to the patient. That's why I wrote this powerful book called The Power of Paytience, Mastering Emotions in Trading While Turning Discipline into Income. Now let's hop over back to Tesla, because this makes sense. This is all in tandem. It all goes together. The same thing happens on all stocks. Look right here. I had an arrow here for my live W shape. All right, we caught the higher low from here, and we get this explosive move. Remember, fear brings opportunity. All right, it keeps happening right in front of us. You understand what I'm saying? So for those new to this, a short squeeze happens when traders bet against the stock and it starts going up. They forced to buy cover, all right? They're forced to buy the cover. And that's the buying pushes that the stock you see, all right? You see the stock pushing up even more. That's why that happens. It's like a spring wound too tight, suddenly releasing. You understand what I'm saying? Or a kid jumping on a trampoline. If the best friend jumps on it after them, they go bouncing back and forth. That's just how this works, like a spring. So look at today's chart, all right? You got all of these green candles. Okay, all of these green candles going all the way up from open from yesterday, all right? With some little pullbacks, we got the minor pullbacks, but that's just scalping. People taking profits and it's falling a little bit, but that don't mean that the strength is over, all right? The momentum in the bulls took over today, all right? Surging volume, the shorts got scorched today, all right? Even after hours, the same story right now, With I think a little bit of cooling off because we are running into OPEX Friday tomorrow. You understand? So this isn't just about price, it's about behavior. And I want you guys to understand that. It's boring talking to you about candles all the time when I really understand that this is about psychology, a human behavior. You can see that in real time on the chart using market timing and data that comes out. Because we have the economic data coming out, right? Tomorrow we have more data coming out and you have to be prepared for that. It's the same story. story. You understand? It's the same story. Most people think that the market moves because of the news. No, the news is just noise. It can be the spark, but positioning, how we get in position, being prepared. Remember how I say the process over profits? You have to position yourself for the fuel, all right? When you know where traders are positioned, and Tesla's short interest was a powder keg, all right? It was very obvious, and I pointed it out today. You know where the energy can go, all right? Mark Douglas wrote about how fear and hope drive decisions. So listen, the shorts feel hope on the way down. They feel fear on the way up. That fear creates urgency creates market orders, and market orders move price, all right? That's the squeeze. You understand what I'm saying? So let's get off of Tesla. Let's go to my Opendoor lovers, because I promised that I would talk about it a little bit more. We've been back and forth between Tesla, SPOT, and Open. Look at this explosive move since the September 11th, all right? Today is September 11th. This stock went from $6 to $10, a whopping 80% in one day. All right, I want you to take a minute to just think about that and let that marinate. I know, all right? Click that link below. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the video so far. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you stuck along this time, then I must be bringing some value, okay? So we're going to move on along, all right? Because there's a message and a gem in all of this. It's always a message and a gem. And that's why I always recap these videos when I do new videos, for you guys to constantly understand that the same setup, the same boring setup, and the same mindset works, okay? The jig is up, all right? This notion about I can't trade is over with now. And I'm going to be doing some more videos for beginners and immediate, right? More detailed videos, even all the way down to how to open up a brokerage account. I'm going to be doing that for you guys. So if you're listening to this and you're hearing this and you have anything you want to learn or tackle more that you just can't find footing in when it comes to trading, leave that comment below and I'll engage. Remember, I talk back. But trading is very simple, but people make it complicated when they overthink it, right? And they have too many indicators. And as you can see on my screen, I don't have a bunch of indicators, all right? It's price action and market structure. Remember, this is the unique trading group, all right? Where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income. All right, so let's get over to Opendoor. Now, why does OPEX Friday matter here? Because options expiration creates a big pocket of hedging in gamma, all right? Gamma for a stock is like fuel for an airplane. An airplane can't leave the airport without fuel, right? Exactly. And so we spot these opportunities out. Now, there are ways that I discuss with my group inside of the Discord, all right? But there are ways to spot these opportunities before they happen, all right? So when a stock breaks out into OPEX, the dealers are hedging these positions, all right? And they become forced buyers. They force them to buy. That's where all these explosive moves come from. That's extra fuel. If you don't understand that, you're trading blind. This is why you get these violent squeezes right before OPEX Friday. The shorts panic, the option hedges unwind, and you get the vertical moves the way you see here on Tesla and Open, all right? This isn't theory, guys. This is not theory. This is market mechanics. You're watching the plumbing of the market in action. And if you don't know plumbing, you stop being surprised by the spikes, all right? If you know what plumbing is, you know what they're doing, all right, you won't be surprised by these spikes. You start planning for them the way that I do and the way that I teach my students. All right, so what's the game plan? What is the game plan? All right, we're going to go back to SPY. All right, what's the game plan? Because this is my culprit. You know, this is my baby, SPY. All right, I trade this religiously. It pays you. It gives you the moves you want. All right, it's consistent. It's liquid. So that's why I trade SPY. It's a liquid. All right, but let's just be realistic. All right, Tesla, for instance. All right. You gotta watch today's high. We're gonna start with Tesla, all right? And we'll double back, all right? We'll double back to SPY, all right? Tesla, you have to watch today's high in the after-hour spike, okay? All right, that high is 368, okay? If it fails tomorrow, you could get fast retracement back to the upside. All right. Remember that the squeezes can cut both ways. You don't have to just be biased towards the upside. We can go back down to fill these gaps because people are going to take profit. There was a lot of money made from Tesla today. Just think about it. Somebody clicked a couple of buttons on a phone and a computer and made thousands of dollars. It's very possible in the world of trading. Luckily, you guys have me, Coach UV, talking to you in a very simple way that you guys can be introduced to this in an early fashion. All right. So discipline and patience paid out today. All right, that's the recap. All right, Open. Let's do the recap on Open. Opendoor, same idea, but with smaller size, all right? Of course, it's a cheaper stock, but smaller size. Wider stops, know your levels, use the base, all right? Use that base, all right? The closing price and the previous demand levels, right? All right, but recklessness takes it away just as fast, all right? So the market is an auction. Every tick is buyers and sellers revealing themselves. Once you start thinking in terms of energy, who's trapped, who's in control, whose steps are in control, you're starting to see the code, all right? So that's the matrix moment. You're no longer reacting. Yep, all right? So you're going to be reacting and not anticipating. You're anticipating. So that's the matrix moment, all right? You're no longer reacting. You're anticipating the move. That's the mindset, and that's exactly how you should be thinking. Now, to close this out, guys, listen to me, all right? That's exactly why we work in and out each day, all right, in our trading group, all right, where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income, all right? It's not just about picking stocks. It's about mastering yourself, all right? I talk about this all the time, all right? The market is a mirror. Talk about that the market really mirrors us as a person. It shows you your own behavior, guys. It shows you your own behavior. You can do your studying on this. Chat GPT it or Google it. But the market really mirrors us as a person. It shows who you are. If you're fearful, it's going to reveal that. All right? You're going to see fear everywhere. If you're disciplined, you'll see structure. That's why I emphasize mindset as much as I do the charts. It's very important for you to think about the structure and the process. This is a business. If you get into trading thinking about getting rich, you already started off wrong. Think about it as a business, staying in the game. If you take the risk serious and your reward is better than your risk, and you think about protecting your capital more than you think about profits, you'll stay in the game longer and you'll have a better consistent rate because you'll be able to stay in longer. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, because honestly, if you do not master your own psychology, you'll get caught in someone else's squeeze. All right, somebody got killed today. Even though there was a lot of money made to the upside, the person that was on the other side that was randomly just shorting Tesla, they got killed today. All right, if that was you, I apologize, but that's exactly what's happening. All right, listen, the link is below if you want to level up and trade with a plan instead of guessing. Check out the group. All right, there's plenty of proof. All right. So the recap: SPY's coding, Amazon and Microsoft muted. Meta stuck under the 200-day moving average, but Tesla and Opendoor, massive short squeeze. All right, massive short squeeze to the upside. All right, into the OPEX Friday. That's your roadmap. So if you caught that move, all right, what's your plan for next week? All right, drop a comment below. All right, I'll read them all and engage back. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Stay disciplined, stay ready. All right, the market is an auction. Every day is a risk versus reward mindset. All right, think this way. Once you understand the energy, you can harness it. All right, and I want to say thank you guys for actually watching. All right, remember that tomorrow is OPEX Friday again, and I want to remind you the economic data that's coming out. Okay, Friday, right here in front of you. A little sneak peek. 10 o'clock. We have that prelude UOM consumer sentiment number at 10 o'clock. Watch that time frame. Whatever stock you're trading, you need to understand if it's in the NYSE or the Nasdaq. All right, it's going to affect price. And we have that GDP at 2 a.m. while we're all sleeping, depending on where you are in the world, in time zone. And so that's what we want to be watching for tomorrow. All right, that data at 10 o'clock. All right, as you can see here, SPY is taking a little breather here. We have these gaps to the downside. We can potentially fall and fill these gaps for OPEX Friday. All right, OPEX Friday is coming. Remember, I'm telling you this. We could fall back down to retest all of these lows. All right, just to buy it back up on a Friday end of day to swing it into quadruple witching for September 19th. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it there. We're going to come back here. I hope you found value in this video. Rewind it if you don't understand. If some of the words that I said were too much for you, it's okay. Give yourself some grace. Slow down. Rewind the video. Go do some research. But I am here for you. I have a book that I wrote, all right, that explains options in a beginner fashion, all right? It's like a Bible for trading. So check out that link below. Join a thriving community, okay? If you need mentorship and or coaching, That link is also below. Get a free discovery call. Find out where you are in trading and how I can help you as a mentor and coach. Okay, again, my name is Coach UV, and if you're busy, you're new, a little skeptical about trading stocks, you're exactly who I help. This is the Unique Trading Group, where strategy meets mindset and discipline turns into income. Thanks guys for watching. Until the next time, peace.